Folks, so you may have noticed I've been playing a lot of this Starfield, benchmarking at least. Haven't really got to enjoy the game because there's a lot more to it than just the first 5 or 6 minutes. But this video, we're doing Cinebench R24 or Cinebench 2024. So let's get this going. Now, you'll see me doing this on probably all the CPUs at some point. We've got the i9-13900kf in here, and we probably don't have an adequate CPU cooler for it. So I'm assuming what happened with R23 will happen here, where to get the best benchmark, you need the best CPU cooler. And in this case, really, it would have been a 420 AIO type cooler, right? So we don't have that right now. We have the Noctua D-15S on here. And so that's a couple big old towers and a 140 millimeter CPU cooler. Now we could have added another fan or used the other one, but I have the D14, D15, whatever. I have so many Noctuas. But yeah, so we'll run this. We'll get a score. We're going to also get Hardware Info 64 going because you guys love that stuff. Looks like there's an update, but we'll skip this update. So what we're going to monitor, folks, temperature, power, and whatever else you can see on the screen. We should be recording in 4K. I will do, let's see, we have kind of a weak graphics card on here. We'll definitely do CPU multi-core. We'll do the single core because it's the i9. I don't know if we'll do GPU this time. If I had the 3090 or the RX 7900 XTX, I would probably do that, but this takes a while. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, if I had Intel's XTU up here, we'd probably see if it's going to thermal throttle and all the other stuff. But that assumes it doesn't quite get up to 100 degrees Celsius, right? If it gets to 100 degrees Celsius, we know that it did. All right, so resetting this. Let's do multi-core. And if we blink too fast, we probably see the temperature shoot up. 93, so we're thermal 97. So we probably thermal throttled. Somewhere in that range right before 100. There you go, 99 degrees. And oh, we've already made our first mistake, folks. I did not want to run this for the 10-minute long one. So let me kill this. So in case you wanted to know how to do this, you go up to advanced benchmark, 10-minute test throttle, and we definitely do not want that. We want that off. All right. Now we've got to wait till our CPU cools off. For some reason, oddly enough, it says it's running here, but it's stopped up here. And you know, the folks that make the software wanted me to give them some feedback. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some feedback on this one. So it's a new software. There's probably going to be some bugs in here, and potentially there's a bug right here. Now, can we update the software? That's a good question where that would be when it becomes available. But the fact I don't have it on start and it's still running is kind of weird. It's not something that you saw before. So I'm just going to kill the program altogether. And, you know, hopefully it'll stop running. So you can see we got to 100. That wasn't the one I wanted to run, because that one on R23 usually ran pretty hot, right? So our preference would be one that, you know, maybe it spikes up to 100, but then it levels off instead of just keeps hitting it. Now, if I had the 420 AIO installed, which we, you know, may be forced to do at some point, I will, you know, let that thing run, and we'll see. We'll do both. But all right, let me give this a couple minutes to cool off. All right, but you know, for me, these guys are the kings for benchmarking. So even though we had a little problem there, they'll figure it out. All right, so we're gonna reset this. Now the temp down here is 70. I have the ceiling fan going. I'm sitting here in a tank top. It actually feels a little cool to me, but for the sake of this video. All right, now we're going to do this again, folks. And hopefully this time we will have everything good to go. Now, one thing I was going to complain to them about when I talked to them is the scoring, you know, such a difference between the scores that they use in R23 versus this one. To me, the bigger score, if you have bigger scores, it just feels like more separation instead of, you know, here. Because, I mean, we were getting, with this CPU, 40,000 something, right? And the score shown is only 1625 for the highest one on here. Now we're going to beat that with this CPU most likely, but you know, that's quite a difference. And all these look so bunched up, where before, you know, you'd have a huge separation between the I9-13900kf and, say, the i7, where it's probably going to seem a lot closer here. All right, so minimum test duration is off. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and hit start. And this time, you know, it should stop on its own. Oh gosh, I always forget. So here we are already thermal throttling. You can see it says it on the screen. And right now it's could be up to for a second there it was going to be up to an 1800 score. Now it's back in the 1600s and 1700s. So we'll see here shortly. This should hopefully go pretty quick with all these cores. You know, is this such a great thing for my CPU? You know, that is up for discussion. All right, so besides the high temps we are feeling right now, it has used 295 watts as a max. Oh, by the way, I do have power limit set to unlimited. There's you know, wiggle room in there to get the temps down. We do not have any other adjustments done that would allow you to use this CPU for these benchmark, or the CPU cooler for these benchmarks. You know, obviously there's stuff you can do in XTU or the BIOS, which we've shown in plenty of videos. So right now the score is in the 2000s. I don't know if it's going to stay there, but I don't think my I9-12900kf is going to get up there where this thing is. So it's not supposed to run very long. Okay, there we go. Finally died. Okay, the score, folks. 2162. So that is like 1/20th of what you would get with R23. We probably would have hit all these high temps, and you know, so many different ways to optimize this. Whether it's a better CPU cooler, then we just run this thing all out, or we go in and we make adjustments in Intel XTU or in the BIOS, right? We've done all that on this channel for 13th gen, mainly the i7 and the i9 13th gen, but yeah, it got pretty hot, folks. So good thing when you run the single core, it takes a while, but it doesn't get anywhere near this hot. Final numbers though, power usage was 295. The temperature got up to 100. Hit that quite a few times. We did thermal limit throttle. Unknown whether any of the other issues popped up, whether we had, doesn't look like we probably had power limit throttling or current limit throttling. It's always easier to see in XTU. Alright, so I'm going to reset this. I think we're ready to run the next part, which will be the CPU single core here. So go ahead and hit the start button, and then we'll bring this up. Hopefully I hit reset, and I'll do it again. So this will take a while, even though this is a powerful CPU. It is only one core, and so you can see the temperature it's gotten into the 50s. Now it's getting into the 60s. Power usage though is way down. And so according to their rankings, the Apple M1 Max is the best CPU that they tested with this. We previously ran this on a 5800X that appeared to have some issues. Probably not the software's problem. I've also read this on a laptop, a couple different laptops, and the good old Threadripper. So this test, really good example of, as far as gaming goes, certain games. And it always seemed to me that Fortnite always ran better if you had a high single core score. So this CPU definitely will have a high one, and it definitely runs Fortnite good. Now surprisingly right now it's saying it's only 70 points. It just jumped up to 81. It should, in my opinion, trample all the CPUs above it on this list. And yeah, so with this graphics card, I'm not planning on doing the GPU test. Would it be nice to benchmark all, 40 or whatever GPUs I have? Maybe. So that said, folks, if you're out there, please watch more of my videos. Please consider buying stuff through the Amazon associate links. I'm always wanting to add more graphics card CPUs. None of the money really goes anywhere but into the channel. So whether it's a certain percentage taken out to pay taxes, most of the money goes back into buying stuff. So even if I go and sell an item at some point, that money goes to buy more gear. Now, occasionally, I do take out a little money to put into savings. It'd be nice if we one day get all the channels up to a good point where making so much money, there's 25% goes into retirement. That would be amazing, folks. All right, so the i9 not looking as impressive as I was expecting. It's only fifth on here. It doesn't look like it's going up any. Quite a ways to go still on this. Really haven't seen any changes. Did get to a high of 70, and power usage got to 65. Oh, actually, take that back, folks. Now it's saying 102 points, so it's past the 5800X, which I would have thought it would have trounced anyways. And now it only has those Apple CPUs above it. No, you know what? What a lousy camera guy I am. There we go. You should be able to see that now, hopefully. So it says 102. If it keeps up, it might, before it runs out of time, it might start to pass one of these apples. I don't think it's getting all the way to the top, but the reality is if it gets to number 3, it could make it, I guess, to second or first, because the scores are so similar. Alright, so I'm going to keep letting that record. I'm going to take USB out of here, upload some more gaming videos, folks. So it's still going. It just dropped down at 93 points. So the 5800X currently is higher. So folks, it is now taken over first place at 127. Still a long way to go though. We've already spent 22 minutes of time on this. I think the only thing exciting happened is in seeing the score go up and up, if you're watching that. Otherwise this is like watching paint dry. So we'll pause for now, just so the video is not overly ridiculous. So though it was up to 126, it's now dropped down to 118. Wow, folks, so 132, top of the pack. And let's see, the max temp got up to 71. Max power was 67 watts. So thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.